Today we will be learning how to use the order of operations. Please copy down the standard Venturic indicator. The student will learn how to use the order of operations to solve multi-step problems. Order of operations. Order of operations is a set of rules that mathematicians use when computing numbers. Here is how order of operations is used to solve the following problem. 7 plus parentheses 5 times 4 parentheses times 3. Order of operations. First, compute all numbers inside the parentheses. So in this case, 5 times 4 is 20. So now we have 7 plus 20 times 3. Next, evaluate terms with exponents. If there are no exponents, go on to the next step. In this case, we don't have any, so we're going to move to the next one. Then, multiply and divide the numbers from left to right. So you start at the left side of the problem, work your way to the right, doing multiplication and division in the order they show up. In this case, we have 7 plus 20 times 3, so we need to do the 20 times 3. So now we have 7 plus 60. Finally, add and subtract the numbers from left to right. So 7 plus 60 is 67. So our answer is 67 for the example. The second thing they show us here is how to use parentheses to make each sentence true. The only time you can do this is when they tell you to. You can't just put parentheses in order of the operation problems just because you want to. You have to follow the steps. But if it tells you, use parentheses to make each sentence true, that's when you're allowed to make it. For here, we're using order of operations to get this to equal 72. Right now, if we used order of operations, we'd have to do the multiplication before the adding, so we get 6 plus 18, which would equal 24, and not 72. However, if we put parentheses around the 6 plus 2, we now have to do parentheses first. So 6 plus 2 becomes 8, and then 8 times 9 is 72. There's a helpful acronym that helps you remember the order of operations. It's called PEMDAS. So please write that down somewhere on your paper. It stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting. Parentheses come first, then exponents, then multiplication and division go in order from left to right. So whatever order they show up in the problem, you do them. Then you do adding and subtracting in order from left to right. For here, we need to evaluate each expression. So we have 8 plus 7 times 5. Well, we don't have parentheses or exponents, but we do have multiplication, so we're going to do that first. So now we're going to get 8 plus 35. And then we add 8 and 35 to get 43. For 2, we have 18 minus 3 times 2. Again, no parentheses or exponents, so we go straight to multiplication. So it becomes 18 minus 6. And we know that that becomes 12. Make sure as we go through all of these problems that you copy the work down below as well so you can see all the steps to get to our answer. For 3, we have 3 times 7 plus 3 times 5. So we know multiplication comes before addition. So 3 times 7 is 21, and 3 times 5 is 15. Now we can add the 21 and the 15, which gets us 36. For 4, we have 40 divided by 2 times 4. And 2 times 4 is in parentheses, so we have to do that first. So it's going to be 40 divided by 8. Forty divided by 8 becomes 5. For 5, we have 6 times 3 minus 6 times 2. So we know multiplication comes before subtraction. So 6 times 3 is 18, minus 6 times 2, which is 12. And then 18 minus 12 becomes 6. For 6, we have 9 plus 2 to the third. So we know exponents come before addition. So we're going to have 9 plus 2 to the third, which means 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So this becomes 9 plus 8. And then 9 plus 8 becomes 17. For 7, we have 7 plus 12 times 3 minus 2. So the first thing we're going to do is the 12 times 3. So we're going to have 7 plus 36 minus 2. Now we need to do addition and subtraction from left to right. So 7 plus 6 is 43, minus 2 is 41. For number 8, we have 4 times 5 plus 5 divided by 20 plus 6. There's a lot going on in this one. So we use our PEMDAS acronym. We know parentheses comes first. So we're going to have 4 times 10 divided by 20 plus 6. And it's helpful on problems like this one to give yourself a little more room to do all the work so you can keep everything lined up as we work step through step. Now, we do multiplication and division left to right. So the multiplication comes first. So we're going to have 40 divided by 20 plus 6. Next, we're going to do the division. So 40 divided by 20 is 2. So we have 2 plus 6. And we know 2 plus 6 equals 8. And this way, by recording all your steps going straight down, you can keep everything lined up and you can double check your math to make sure you did it correctly. For 9, we have 4 squared minus 3 times 5. Now we know parentheses comes first, so we're going to have 4 squared minus 15. Then we need to do our exponents. 4 squared means 4 times 4, so that becomes 16 minus 15. And that, as we know, becomes 1. For 10, we have parentheses 3 times 2 plus 3 squared. So parentheses comes first, so 3 times 2 is 6. We know that 3 squared means 3 times 3, so that's going to become 9. So we have 6 plus 9. And 6 plus 9 becomes 15. For 11, it's asking us to do some reasoning, some thinking. Which operation should be performed last in this problem, and why? So if we look at it here, we've got 3 squared plus 7 times 4. We know parentheses would come first, but we don't have any. So then we do exponents, and then we do multiplication. So addition is going to be our last operation. So we're going to write down addition because it's the last step in the order of operations. For 12 and 13, they want us to use parentheses to make the sentence true. So we have 0 times 6 plus 9, and we want it to equal 9. So right now, to put the parentheses around, we need the multiplication. So we're going to put parentheses in front of the 0 and behind the 6. And then we end up with 0 times 6, which is 0, plus 9 is 9. For 13, we have 3 squared plus 2 times 2. So we are going to put the parentheses around the 2 times 2 so that we get the 4 there done first. Please make sure you've copied down all of the work and then glue this page and your work in your math notebook.